Today we're going to learn how you can use one sheet of vinyl to make 2, maybe even 3 cups using the same technique, but each one individually different from the other. Hi, I'm Mara and welcome to Sieta Gift Shop's channel.
You want to measure your cup every single time you start a new cup, because even if it comes from the same manufacturer, there will still be a little bit of difference in measurement. Here I have a measuring tool that I got from Ellie's Crafty Co. So here I'm measuring from top to bottom, and you want to measure just above where the curve begins at the bottom. And then you want to measure in 3 sections. First, you want to measure the top. And as you can see, this little tool has exact measurements that you can plug into your Silhouette or your Cricut, whatever tool you use. And you want to measure the top, and you want to measure right in the middle, and you want to measure right at the bottom, because even if it is a straight, there will still be a little bit of difference sometimes, so it's better to be safe than sorry. Measure, measure, measure. And there you go. Now you're ready for the next step.
I've uploaded the file onto Cricut Design Space, and I sized it up just a tad bit than what my cup measured at, and I'll show you here in a little bit why I did that. So we'll go ahead and send it to the Cricut. So I want the base or the background to be black, but I did not want to mess with any kind of spray painting today or any acrylic paint because the weather's kind of cold and I just didn't want to mess with it. So I'm going to use vinyl instead. If you're going to apply the template over some vinyl before you apply it to your cup, you have to take those measurements under consideration when you go to cut your template. I hope that makes sense. I'm going to use a weeding pen to peel off the backing of this double-sided tape to apply it onto the vinyl. The vinyl was cut just a little bit larger than the template, so here I am just trimming that excess off so it doesn't overlap when I apply it to the tumbler. Okay, we're going to measure it one more time before we apply it to the tumbler. As you can see, there's just a little bit of an overlap, and that's okay. We want that, and we'll fix it once it is applied on there. But it looks perfect. Ready for the next step. Now this template it's called mosaic, but so it reminds me of some stained glass. So I decided to use this vinyl that is gorgeous. I love those colors, and itself looks like stained glass with some mother of pearls and some deep blues and greens in there. I just love it. We're going to start with the outline of the design, and we're going to start with pigments. The pigments and glitters that we will be using today come from yours truly, Sieta Gift Shop. It now carries pigments and glitters. As of recording this video, we have 20 colors of pigments, and we'll be adding more along with the glitters. Now I'm just pulling the outline. This part is so satisfying to me. I don't know why, but it is. I try my best to pull it all in just one piece, but it doesn't always work out. But it's still satisfying to me. I love this template, it's so pretty. Okay, so we're starting with Fool's Gold. It is a chameleon pigment powder, and we just need just a little bit goes a long way. You just tab the brush. You just need a small brush, it doesn't need to be anything fancy. I got this at Five Below, I think. Now I'm just spreading the powder all around, and like I said, a little bit goes a long way, so I just barely tapped it in there and spread the powder all around. It sticks very well on the brush, so you can spread it easily. Try your best not to touch the exposed areas of the double-sided tape. If you do touch it, it will take away the effects of the double-sided tape. So the pigment or glitter, whatever it is that you're using, may not stick as well. Here is a closer look at that gold. She is super, super shiny. Take a look at this gold. It's so pretty, so shiny. I love it. And you can see that I didn't use very much at all. The bottle is still pretty much full. Now you want to take a microfiber cloth and rub the loose pigment powder that may be on there, and just to make sure it gets onto the double-sided tape. Plus, you don't want any loose powder that may cross-contaminate with the next step that is coming up. Now I've cut the same template that is cut on the double-sided tape onto this beautiful vinyl. Here I'm just going to try to figure out which pieces I want to apply onto the double-sided template. So we're going to do the middle and the sides. And with this type of intricate design, you want to be careful which pieces you pull from each vinyl. I hope that makes sense. Here I'm starting with the centerpiece. We're not going to use all of the pieces, we're just going to use some. That way you can get more than one tumbler out of this design. One thing to keep in mind is that when you do the flat method, which means that you're not applying the template onto the tumbler and then pulling a double-sided tape, you're actually doing it just on the surface on your table, desk, whatever you're working on. Remember that the sides will meet up in the middle, so whatever you do to one side you'll have to do to the other. Okay, this is looking good so far. As you can see, I've laid down several pieces. And remember, whatever you do to one side, you're going to have to do to the other side. So it's looking good. And then you're going to have lots of pieces left over, depending on what you decide. You can get maybe 1 or 2 more tumblers done with the same vinyl. There's this money saving tip there for you. Okay, that looks good. We've applied all the vinyl we're going to put on there. Now we're going to move on to the next pigment, which is called Folia. Now this pigment is an Aurora pigment, so what that means is that it's going to have a different look based on the background. So here's the white background and this is a black background. So you'll have to test out your pigments if you're using an Aurora color based on whatever the background is going to be. And I think this Folia is going to be perfect because it's going to pull some of those greens that are in this design. You can kind of see it there a little bit. It's so pretty. What I love about the chameleon pigments is that it's going to look a little different depending on where the light hits it. So when you first open the bottle, it's going to look different. It looks kind of purplish. As you can see right here, you're going to see once I start applying it onto the double-sided tape that it's going to have a greenish color. Here you can see how it's picking up some of that same color that's over here on this side. Now I'm just going to select random pieces to apply the pigment powder to. And whatever I do to one side, I'm going to do to the other side. Okay, I think those are all the pieces I'm going to do with that Folio pigment. I love those colors. So one thing I forgot to do in this step was to varnish the pigments in, and you're going to see what happens when you skip that step here in a little bit. So the two colors that we used today was Folia and Fool's Gold. I want to continue to carry those blues and greens, but this time we're going to do it with our glitters. A lot of times when I use this kind of design, I want to use more of a finer glitter, and these glitters are mixed, so it means it has a little bit of chunky, not chunky, more like medium and fine glitter in it. So we're going to use Sea Breach, which is that blue, that deep blue, very pretty. And we're going to use also I Do, which is just, it's white and it's very sparkly. I think it'll pick up a lot of that mother of pearl color that's in the vinyl. And then we're also going to use Firefly, which is that pretty green. It does have some gold in it, which I think will match perfectly with that Fool's Gold pigment. I took each of the glitters and poured just a little bit into this mixing cup, and as you can see, you have a totally different color. Did you know that you guys can mix your own color, your own personal color? Take whatever colors you like and just mix it and see what you come up with. I like experimenting with different colors. And it's ready to be applied to the template. I'm going to apply the glitter that we just mixed onto the remaining pieces that are left. Now I'm kind of going in a circular motion to make sure that the glitter gets into all the tape that is exposed. If I had used the fine glitter, I wouldn't have to do that, but because there are some bigger pieces in there, I want to make sure that they stick on there. And I will just pour the remainder into that cup, and we'll continue with the other pieces. I love this color. I cannot wait to see it under epoxy. And there she is. All the glitter has been applied. But as you can see, where I did not varnish that area of the pigments, it got contaminated with the glitter. So we'll have to clean that up, and it's kind of tedious to clean it up, but it's doable. I would not recommend it though. I've applied the first layer of epoxy, and this is what it looks like. I love the color combination and also the template. The template comes from Ellie's Crafty Co. I will add a link down in the description. I'm not an affiliate, but I love her designs. After the second coat of epoxy has cured, you want to do a light sanding to get rid of any bumps or any bubbles that are on the surface. This will be helpful when you start to apply any pinstriping that you want to add. Don't forget to do the rim. Also, if this part scares you, don't worry, it will come back to life once you apply the next coat of epoxy. Just trust the process. After you've sanded, you want to get some clean gloves and your 91% alcohol. We want to get rid of all the dust that was left behind from the sanding. And coffee filters, I believe, are the best choice to do this instead of paper towels, because it eliminates any risk of leaving any particles or lint behind from the paper towels. And do this until you remove any dust from the sanding, and let it air dry, and then you're ready for the next step. Now it's time to let your creative juices flow. This is where you're going to pinstripe the cup, and you can put as much pinstripe as you want or as little as you want. Now this cup, this design has a lot going on already, and we used some pigments in there to outline the design, so I'm just going to add some pinstripe at the bottom to finish up the bottom and the top, and then down the center, as you'll see here in a minute. After you're done pinstriping, you want to add some sealer to keep any of that pinstriping from lifting once you apply the epoxy. Personally, I like to seal it with Rust-Oleum Clear. If you had to move the pinstriping a lot, and I mean, if you lift it, move it, lift it, move it, then you probably want to seal it several times just to keep that pinstripe from lifting once you apply the epoxy. Now I'm applying the final coat of epoxy on this cap, and we're using regular epoxy this time. It should take about 8 hours for it to dry and 72 hours to cure. So give it that time to cure before you use it or you send it to a customer. Let's take a look at the 2 cups that I made with this one vinyl sheet. And as you can see, they're kind of the same, but not really. They each have a unique look, and then you have enough left over for a 3rd one. What do you think?
Now these vinyl sheets do come in typically in a 12 by 12 sizes. So when you cut it down, if you're using a 20 ounce, you're going to have a section that is unused. So you have some leftover scraps that you can use for other projects. A pen wrap, for example, the little 3 ounce cups would be perfect for that. There's many ways that you can use your leftovers, so there's some money saving tip for you. Let me know if you have any questions or if I missed anything, or give me an idea of what you want to see next. Until next time, have a blessed one.